Welcome to AAMI in Action, Standards that Shape Patient Safety. I am Kaumudi Kulkarni, Program Manager at Healthmark, a Getting a company. Today, we'll explore how AAMI standards aren't just guidelines, they're the backbone of safer, smarter patient care. Today, I'm going to walk you through the world of AAMI standards, what they are, how they are created, and why they matter. Whether you're new to standards development or already familiar with them, this session will give you a clearer picture of how you can play a role in shaping the future of healthcare technology. We'll start by defining AAMI standards and exploring the process behind their development. Then we'll discuss the role of AAMI in standards development. And finally, we'll highlight ways you can get involved. By the end of this presentation, you'll not only understand the standards landscape better, but you'll also see how your voice can make a difference. What is AAMI? AAMI stands for the Association for the Advancement of Medical Instrumentation. It is a non-profit standards development organization and is recognized as one of the foremost voluntary standard-setting organizations in the United States. It develops standards for medical devices and healthcare products and services. AAMI is considered a professional society, not a trade organization. It serves as the leading source of national and international consensus standards for medical devices, healthcare technology, and sterilization. Now let's take a look at what AAMI standards are. AAMI standards are technical documents that provide guidance and requirements for the design, production, testing, and use of medical devices and healthcare technologies. They help ensure safety, effectiveness, and consistency across the industry. They are technical documents established by consensus. Consensus means that the interested parties have reached a substantial agreement. AAMI standards are voluntary, that is, they do not have a force of law. But remember, they are voluntary unless they have been formally adopted by authorities and referenced in regulation as a requirement. And lastly, it is good to know that AAMI documents are reviewed periodically with new or revised versions produced when needed. The practical implications of AAMI sterilization standards are profound across healthcare settings. These standards aren't just technical documents. They shape how hospitals and clinics protect patients, manage risk, and ensure regulatory compliance. The ripple effect is that they ensure patient safety, enable standardized processes, facilitate regulatory approval, and drive innovation and quality. The AAMI Standards Program is accredited by the American National Standards Institute, ANSI, which coordinates the development and promotion of all U.S. voluntary standards and officially represents the United States in international standard setting. AAMI develops American national standards and technical information reports. The international aspects of the AAMI Standards Program are governed by the policies and procedures of International Organization for Standardization, ISO, the International Electrotechnical Commission, IEC, and ANSI. Let's explore the size of the standards program. As you can see, AAMI's standards program is vast and deeply collaborative. It currently has over 170 active committees and working groups. AAMI has published nearly 300 standards and over 80 TIRs. AAMI also plays a leadership role internationally, holding 11 secretariats and supporting 18 US technical advisory groups, or TAGs. And none of this would be possible without the AAMI community. It has over 2,300 active participants in the standards program. This scale reflects AAMI's central role in shaping both US and international standards for medical devices and healthcare technology. When we talk about who develops AAMI standards, we are really talking about a vast and diverse community. AAMI standards are not created in isolation. They are shaped by over 14,000 members and stakeholders who bring expertise from every corner of healthcare and medical technology. This includes medical device manufacturers, consumers, FDA, regulatory affairs professionals, professional societies, end users, test labs, and subject matter experts. Each voice plays a critical role in ensuring that our standards are not only technically sound, but also practical, relevant, and patient-centered. Interest categories. AAMI is committed to inclusive and balanced representation across all stakeholder groups in the standards development process. AAMI recognizes 5 distinct interest categories, each representing a vital perspective in standards development. Industry, which includes manufacturers, developers, and suppliers of medical devices and technologies. User, which includes healthcare providers, clinicians, and institutions that use medical devices. Regulatory, which includes government agencies responsible for oversight and compliance. General interest, which includes academics, researchers, and members of the public. Other, which includes stakeholders who don't fit neatly into the above categories, but still contribute meaningfully. This might include consultants, testing labs, or advocacy groups. So, AAMI strives for a balanced participation from all these groups to avoid dominance by any single interest and to ensure the standards reflect a broad consensus. Behind every trusted standard is a rigorous process. Let's walk through the key stages that bring AAMI documents to life. New work proposal. This is where it all begins. A stakeholder submits a proposal for a new standard or revision. AAMI evaluates whether the topic aligns with its mission and whether there's sufficient interest and resources to proceed. Working draft stage. A designated working group begins drafting the document. This stage involves deep technical discussions, research, and collaboration. The goal is to produce a draft that reflects consensus and is technically sound. Committee ballot and public review. The draft is circulated to the full standards committee for formal ballot. Simultaneously, it's released for public review where anyone can comment. This ensures transparency and invites broader input beyond the working group. Consideration and response to comments. All comments, whether from committee members or the public, are reviewed. The working group must respond to each comment, either by revising the draft or explaining why no change is made. And the final stage is approval and publication. Types of documents. AAMI technical publications are classified according to their objectives or the level of consensus they reflect. The types of technical publications described here are only examples. AAMI committees may develop other types of documents in response to specific technical issues. Standards are consensus-based normative documents that provide requirements, specifications, or guidelines. Technical information reports from AAMI are informative and not normative, and often support a standard or address a particular aspect of medical technology. Point to note is that both standards and TIRs are reviewed periodically. This chart highlights the key differences between AAMI standards and TIRs. The first aspect is purpose. Standards define mandatory requirements for safety and performance. TIRs provide guidance and best practices, especially for emerging topics. Remember this next one. Standards are formal documents that can be recognized by the FDA. TIRs are advisory only, not enforceable. FDA does not recognize any TIRs. Regarding the development process, standards require full consensus and public review. TIRs are approved by committees without public input. Standards use prescriptive terms like shall and must. TIRs use flexible terms like should and may. Standards support regulatory submissions and compliance. TIRs fill gaps and guide innovation until formal standards exist. Flexibility. Standards are less flexible, they are uniform requirements. TIRs are adaptable to evolving technologies and perspectives. Both standards and TIRs are reviewed periodically. Standards are generally reviewed every 5 years and TIRs about every 3 years. Here is a list of the various AAMI standards committees. The AAMI ST or Sterilization Standards Committee is one of these various standards committees. To learn more about each committee and its associated working groups, you can click on the committee of interest in the link below. How do AAMI standards influence patient safety? From meeting global regulations to keeping care consistent and innovation sharp, AAMI standards are a solid force behind safer healthcare. AAMI standards facilitate regulatory compliance by aligning with the FDA and global safety requirements, ensuring approval and market readiness. They promote consistency in care by developing uniform standards across facilities, ensuring predictable, safe patient experiences. They encourage continuous improvement by providing regular updates and keeping safety aligned with innovation. Now that we've seen how AAMI standards directly impact patient safety, let's shift our focus upstream to another critical area, medical device regulation. How do AAMI standards influence medical device regulations? Along with protecting patients at the bedside, AAMI standards also play a pivotal role behind the scenes, helping manufacturers meet FDA requirements and gain global market access. AAMI standards often become the technical backbone of regulatory frameworks. Here's how they exert their influence. FDA endorsement. The FDA includes many AAMI standards in its recognized consensus standards database, which we will discuss shortly. This allows manufacturers to use them as proof of regulatory compliance, streamlining approval and market entry. Global adoption. AAMI works with ISO and IEC to align standards internationally. This harmonization supports regulatory convergence and makes global market access more efficient. AAMI standards gain even greater significance when formally recognized by the FDA. Remember, the FDA can only recognize standards, not TIRs. So what happens when the FDA adopts an AAMI standard? When the FDA recognizes an AAMI standard, it's no longer just a helpful guideline. It becomes a regulatory tool. It's added to the FDA's recognized consensus standards database, which is a key resource for manufacturers and regulators. The FDA maintains a public database of recognized consensus standards. This includes vetted and accepted AAMI documents. Now that the standard is officially recognized and listed, manufacturers can begin leveraging it directly in their regulatory submissions. Once a standard is recognized, manufacturers can declare conformity to it in their pre-market submissions. This declaration shows the FDA that the product meets established safety and performance criteria. And here's where the impact becomes tangible. Recognized standards don't just support compliance, they actively streamline the approval process, saving time and reducing regulatory burden. Another important point is that the recognized standards can also be superseded by newer versions that were recently revised and updated by AAMI. Here's the landing page of the FDA's official database, along with the link to access it. You can explore the full list of FDA-recognized consensus standards for medical devices from this tool. This searchable tool lets you look up standards by organization like AAMI, ISO, IAC, filter by product code, regulation number, or specialty area, view recognition numbers, and dates of entries, among many other things. Now that we've seen how recognized standards shape regulatory pathways, let's explore how you, yes, you can be part of the process by contributing directly to the development of AAMI standards. Join a committee. One of the most direct ways is to join an AAMI committee where experts collaborate to draft and refine standards. Next, submit a proposal. If you've identified a gap in existing standards or have a new idea that could improve safety or performance, you can submit a proposal. Even if you're not ready to join a committee or submit a proposal, you can still make an impact by participating in public reviews. AAMI publishes draft standards for public comment, and your feedback helps refine and validate the final documents. Your voice matters. Now let's look at how these contributions have real-world impact. AAMI standards play a critical role in helping healthcare facilities meet the Joint Commission accreditation requirements. The Joint Commission expects that healthcare organizations follow evidence-based guidelines and the IFUs. Now here's where AAMI comes into play. AAMI standards often serve as the foundation for these expectations. So what does this mean for SPD staff, those of you who are working behind the scenes to keep patients safe? It means that by following AAMI standards, you're not just doing things by the book, you're aligning your practices with what TJC inspectors are trained to look for. This alignment helps ensure compliance, enhances patient safety, and significantly lowers the risk of citations during surveys. In short, AAMI standards aren't just technical, they are strategic. They help you stay ahead of inspections and deliver safer care every day. We've seen how AAMI standards support what the Joint Commission expects, especially around evidence-based practices and instructions for use. Now let's make that practical. Here's an example of a readiness checklist for SPD teams built around key AAMI sterilization standards. It's a quick way to ensure you're aligned, compliant, and survey ready. You can see that standards like AAMI ST79 on steam sterilization and AAMI ST91 on endoscopy processing are widely used by healthcare facilities to support the Joint Commission's Environment of Care and Infection Control standards. The Joint Commission surveyors often reference these AAMI standards during inspections to assess compliance with sterilization protocols. Why does this alignment matter? It helps SPD and clinical engineering teams prepare for surveys with confidence, reduces risk of citations or deficiencies during accreditation, and it promotes a culture of safety and accountability across departments. And that brings us to our next point. Why is it so important to be part of standards development? It's not just about compliance, it's about influence. Those who participate help define the rules, drive innovation, and ensure their perspectives are represented. You elevate the profession. Your experience, insights, and day-to-day challenges are not just relevant, but essential. Without diverse input, standards risk being one-sided. Your participation ensures all perspectives, users, developers, regulators, are represented, making the standard stronger and more widely accepted. You gain early access to emerging trends, build a powerful network, and stay ahead of industry shifts. You help your organization adopt standards faster and smarter. Your insider knowledge turns you into a strategic asset. At the end of the day, standards only work when real people like you get involved. So if you've ever thought someone should fix this, guess what? That someone could be you. Let's talk about how to actually get started. Whether you're ready to join a committee or want to submit comments on open documents, there are easy steps you can take. Visit AAMI's official page on participating in standards development using the link on the slide. Here, you'll have links to new committee member resources. You can search for a committee, apply for membership, submit a proposal, and many other things. Feel free to also join AAMI's YouTube channel called AAMI Connect. It is the official video hub for AAMI and features content focused on the medical technology industry, including company spotlights, product demos, educational videos, career insights, and even shorts. The page Join a Standards Committee on AAMI's website explains how individuals can actively participate in standards development through AAMI. I have the link for you on this slide, so you can visit it when you're ready. For membership applications, contact standards@aami.org, then let them know your area of interest and also provide your CV to them to get you started. Once you've taken that first step and joined a committee, you're not on your own. AAMI provides a range of resources to help new members get up to speed and contribute confidently. AAMI has developed a guide for new committee members to provide the information you'll need to maximize your participation and set yourself up for success. Now that you've got the guide in hand and a clear roadmap for getting started, let's talk about how to stay informed and engaged throughout your committee journey. AAMI offers some excellent resources to help you keep up with the latest standards activity and industry insights. First up, it's Standards Monitor Online. This is your go-to source for updates on standards development, committee meetings, and ballots. It's updated regularly and helps you stay in sync with what's happening across AAMI's technical landscape. Next is AAMI Array, AAMI's centralized online platform that brings together all of its multimedia resources, publications, and standards content in one place. It is a searchable, always updated digital library of standards and guidance documents, industry updates, books, videos, journal articles, and much more. These tools aren't just resources. They are your connection to the pulse of the standards community. With them, you'll stay informed, engaged, and ready to make an impact. So you've got the updates, insights, and community. Now let's talk about where the real action happens. AAMI Stamp is the digital platform that helps you track documents, participate in ballots, and stay on top of your committee work, all in one place. With Stamp, you can view and manage all your committees and working groups from a single dashboard. You can vote and comment directly within the platform. You can upload, review, and track document versions with built-in version control. You can also schedule meetings and sync your calendar seamlessly. As we conclude today's presentation, let's take a moment to reflect on the bigger picture. AAMI standards shape healthcare's future. Collaboration ensures safety and innovation. If you're ready to dive in, explore the resources on aami.org. Subscribe to Standards Monitor Online and AAMI Array, and log on to STAMP to start collaborating. By joining an AAMI Standards Committee, you're stepping into a space where your voice truly matters. You're helping shape the technologies, practices, and policies that will protect patients for years to come. Thank you for being here.